Welcome back to the Jazz Improvisation Workbook. This is volume 3, and today we're diving into the style of a true legend, Bill Evans. If you've been following the series, you know we started with Hank Jones in Volume 1. And then explored the soulful phrasing of Wynton Kelly in Volume 2. Now in Volume 3, we take on the unique challenge of getting inside the mind of Bill Evans. We'll break down his solos, analyze his lines, and I'll walk you through simple step-by-step exercises so you can start playing in his style right away. Let's get started. So that was Bill Evans' solo over the Two Lonely People. As always, let's start with the harmonic concepts. So in this first exercise, we're going to work on the first 16 bars of the solo. This is a progression in F minor with quite a few 2-5-1s. Now in minor keys, the 1 chord is usually a minor 6 chord. And you can see that reflected in Bill's left hand voicing here, where he plays D and A flat for F minor. Also, in minor, the 5 chord works best as an altered chord because you get the flat 9 and the sharp 9 together, and also the flat 13, A flat. This flat 13 could also be seen as the sharp 5 turning the C7 into an augmented chord. Now let's talk about left-hand voicings. Most of the voicings are 2-note voicings made out of guide tones. There are a couple exceptions on this F minor. Here, he plays a cluster with the 9th and the 3rd. This is very effective on minor chords. In these bars, the 3-note voicings are nothing more than shell voicings, root and the 2 guide tones. And the 4-note voicing at the end is actually a closed voicing on the root. And then on the last voicings, he's playing an inversion of the E flat minor 7 with a D flat at the bottom because he's connecting the E flat minor 7 with the next chord, B minor 7. And since this is the beginning of the solo, Bill Evans is playing really simple rhythms that work on 3/4. These are basically downbeats that add the harmonic context. That's it. Now let's look at the line. There are a couple of really important concepts going on here. So in order to understand how Evans is playing, we need to understand what he is targeting. In order to do that, we've marked the target notes in the score. The first exercise centers around just playing the targets so that you can hear what Bill Evans was hearing. When you choose these targets, be sure to choose the appropriate target. First off, chord tones always work. However, when it comes to tensions, try to be more selective. For example, on minor chords, choose the 9 or the 11. For dominant chords, the 9 and the 13 work great. If the dominant chord is altered, choose a flat 9 and a sharp 9 or a flat 13. Here are 3 examples. After playing the example, go ahead and construct your own scaffolding of target notes based on the recommendations that I just gave you. The next thing to point out is how Evans is never just playing the target. He always approaches that target with a small line or a series of pickup notes, 3 to 5 notes that create movement towards our target note. When choosing these pickup notes, always consider the current chord as a source for these pickup notes. You can also consider the target chord when doing this, but Evans mostly considers the current chord when constructing these lines. For example, on this C7, Evans plays E flat, A flat, and C. The sharp 9, the flat 13, and the root of the current chord. These are all notes that are consistent with the current chord's chord scale. Another implementation of this technique is to basically invert or mirror our previous approach. In other words, you can start your sequence with the target and then play your line, like this. The next attribute worth discussing is Bill's swing. Evans plays a very hard swing characterized by delayed upbeats. Shifting that upbeat note later in the grid really emphasizes the swing feel. Also really important is the insertion of triplets into his lines. And these triplet rhythms can appear on any beat. Something else that you'll notice Evans leaning into is creating lines from specific voicings. Evans approached these lines from the perspective of what do I want my voicing to be, and then he just breaks or arpeggiates it into the line. He further fleshes out these arpeggiated lines with passing tones. A great example of this is here on this F minor 7 flat 5 to this B flat 7 flat 9. Here are a few variations of a line using this exact voicings concept over the same chords. Now try building your own examples and be sure to play them in different keys. Now check out a variation of this solo using all of the techniques that we discussed today. Thanks again for joining us today. As usual, all of our members will receive a PDF helping out with today's concepts and techniques. If you're not a member yet, go ahead and join down below using the link or just right here on YouTube.